So it's just about 11 p.m. and I haven't really done any writing consistently the last couple of days. I've just sort of been taking a break, which makes sense because every time I finish a book, I always automatically just take a couple days. Even though finishing Changing States was like my first like real writing session in like a couple of weeks, I still kind of took the break. It's just sort of a natural process. At the end of finishing a book, even if it's a novella, I always sort of take a break. I got an idea for this novella. I don't know. It's probably going to be a novella. I originally wanted it to be a short story, but it's going to be a novella. I can't stick to word counts, so it's definitely going to be longer, called Lost Gods, and it's sort of a riff off Body Back, which is a novella that I wrote almost a year ago, which is crazy that I started Body Back nearly a year ago. But it's following the same character. You guys already know Harrison if you're not new to this channel. I have a new project where he's alone in New York for a week, and it's really just showcasing like the shenanigans that he gets up to, which is really fun for me because he usually makes a lot of poor decisions that are very entertaining to write. I was just sitting down and like got this idea that comes after a scene that I've already started writing. I've written a majority of this book in the notes app. It's really not been like that serious of like a writing process. And that's been kind of nice because the last year or so I've really taken quite like a dedicated approach to all of my writing projects, which is nice, but it's not always what I need. And especially for writing that I'm not publishing, writing that is just sort of fun and for me, I don't want with Lost Gods to have a strict routine with writing it. I did that. I've been there, done that. Oh my gosh, I've tried this angle where I just lie down and hold the camera above my head because the lighting in my room is driving me nuts. And why is it kind of a vibe? Hey guys, Lost Gods was a project that came to me in a kind of a weird way. It was kind of unserious the way I decided to write this project. So in 2005, Madonna released this song called Hung Up, which is a very popular song. And it ended up being like sort of the crux of the timeline of a novella I wrote called Changing States. And so on the day of sort of Madonna Hung Up Day, which I think is October 18th, I was like, I kind of want to write something related to this song that has been sort of important to Change States, at least in the beginning. My book takes place in the year that that song came out. So I ended up writing a line that references the song. And so that was kind of a fun origin story. I haven't worked on it seriously since, and I'm so excited to not work on it seriously. Honestly, I think it's kind of underrated having projects that can just be something that you do for fun. I always talk about writing for yourself, so it's not even just like a write for yourself ideology that I'm suggesting here. It's also a write kind of unseriously approach because I've been taking writing very seriously. I mean, for the last 10 years, I've been writing for a really long time, and I've done a great job at writing projects that make me excited, writing projects that are just for me, writing projects that I have no plans of publishing. And I think that's honestly been great for my process. At the same time, though, I want to introduce fun not only into the actual concepts of what I'm writing and, you know, the final product, like I write a lot for myself and that's fun for me. I also want to introduce fun into the actual writing process. And so writing primarily in my notes app, I've written several scenes on my notes app alone, has just been quite freeing. The notes app is lovely because there's no notion of word count. There's no notion of typos, really. Like, you're not paying attention to the grammatical structure. You're not indenting. I don't typically like italicize or bold things in my notes app because that takes extra time. So it kind of strips back the writing process just to kind of like words. And I've been writing in my notes app for several years now. This is the first time where I've consciously decided, okay, I don't mind writing a lot of the project in the Notes app. I used to use the Notes app a lot more when I was younger because I used to get a lot more ideas. And as I've gotten older, I haven't gotten a lot of ideas. So I haven't had the use to like write things down in a document. Usually I come up with ideas while I'm writing. So what I want to do right now is I just want to go find the scene that leads up to the idea of the scene that I got today. And then I'm going to write it out by hand in a document just for a little bit, just for fun. Honestly, I'm going to first start by opening up Cleanness by Garth Greenwell, which is like literally right in front of me. Like, It's somewhere there. I don't know if you can see it. Cleanness is such an inspiration for me. I love Garth Greenwell's writing, so just reading it just makes me so freaking excited. And I might also crack open another book that's over there called 100 Lovers by Richie Hoffman. It's my favorite poetry collection just because, I don't know, I want to get into the vibe. I have this like cozy idea for what could be fun in a writing session, and I don't often write by hand. I find writing by hand really impacts my prose, or at least my perception of my prose, because honestly, in the end, I've started to notice that it doesn't really make it as much of a difference as I thought it had. But I've been enjoying the process of, I don't know, not being at my computer. I'll be writing in this notebook. This is going to be like sort of my new writing notebook. I was previously writing in my notebook that I used at school. It's what I wrote a lot of Seventh Virtue in. It's actually got the ending of Seventh Virtue, which is my contemporary fantasy novel that I finished last year. It has the ending of Seventh Virtue in that notebook, but I didn't really want to use that notebook for writing because it has a lot of to-do lists, a lot of random notes, a lot of things from when I was a student, and I use it sort of like as an all-purpose catch-all notebook, and I don't really want my writing in there. And then my brother gifted me this very bougie pen. So this is from Muji. This one is like, what are they? I don't know what these are called. Cartridge pens? I don't know. The ones with the nib on it, and so I think it'll be kind of fun to write with like a calligraphy pen, basically. I usually write with those Bic gel pens, which I used to be a hater of, but to be honest, like I've started to like love them. They've become like my favorite pens. So these are the beautiful books that I'm just gonna read, not for long. Honestly, I don't feel like reading for actual reading purposes. I'm just trying to like absorb language, and that's pretty much it. I have the scene that I'm talking about somewhere on my phone. Let's see if I can find it. My phone is dying. It's on 5%. Fantastic. It had like the character's name was Wolf. Like, I don't know why. I already have a wolf in a short story. Don't care. Why is there so much? Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paragraphs. 7 and they're like big paragraphs. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, most of this story, like, by the time I implement what I've written in the Word document into the actual document of the story, this shit is not going to be a short story. This is 100% a novella. What have I done? Hello, so it's Editing Rachel here. I have been going through all of my old writing vlog footage from a couple months ago and editing them, and so it's really interesting for me to rewatch this because the notebook that I'm writing with, this was my first time ever writing in it. I actually have that on camera, and I think that's like really exciting because this is now a notebook that I have been writing in very frequently, like several times a week, if not every day, since January. So it's really exciting that I was able to see myself sort of get used to this process, and it's interesting kind of hearing my thoughts even just from a couple months ago on writing by hand because I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it, and now I've like really fallen in love with the process. It's really important, I think, for my process to have kind of a place to play, and a notebook feels easier to do that in than a document. And this is somebody, like, I am a diehard like Microsoft Word fan, computer fan. I love typing, but there's something about writing by hand that I've really been loving. And something that's also quite interesting is the scene that I was writing in this clip here was a really early idea, actually, from Lost Gods. This was when I was still writing Lost Gods chronologically. So interesting, because I had continued a scene that I was writing on my computer in my notebook, but the notebook changed the writing process for me. So now I don't write Lost Gods chronologically. I don't even know if it's really going to be a chronological story or if it's just going to be sort of little figments of scenes stitched together, not necessarily a overall narrative. But I think that's so cool because I get to see that change happen. And I'm happy to say Lost Gods is now officially over 10,000 words long, and at the time of filming this was probably about 3,000. So thank you so much for watching this video. What are you working on? Would you try writing by hand if you're also a diehard typist? Let me know in the comments. But for now, I'll see you guys in another video. Bye!